Hi, everyone. Well, before I welcome my guests, I'm going to say some of the things that I normally say at the end of the interview because I know that some of you don't watch it all the way to the end. So please like, share, and if you watch it on YouTube, subscribe. All right, you got that? So now I would like to welcome back to the show somebody who, we have something in common. We're both late bloomers. Anyway, all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Carolyn Harley. Welcome back to the show, Carolyn.
Great. Glad to be back.
It's nice to have you here, really, right? So, as a late bloomer, what did you start late in life?
Well, my right now my passion is music. So my passion is songwriting and recording and performing. But I actually started late, in my opinion, to even write songs and learn to play the guitar. I was in my late 20s. So
Okay,
to me, that's later than a lot of musicians. And then I taught preschool, which I loved, and so that was my life career, was teaching preschool, which suited me because I'm a little bit on the silly side, and it really did suit me. So all the way along through teaching preschool, I was taking courses in songwriting. Every workshop that came by, I was taking them. And I ended up going to Vancouver and Toronto and just on these different workshops and Saskatoon and I took everyone that came by. So I was learning, and I had a real difficulty with timing, and I had to work very hard, and so that kept me from ever being able to really start a band. So I
oh,
did a lot of solo work. So I was one of those folk artists, that kind of stop and talk in the middle of songs and whatnot. I didn't pay a lot of attention to the precise timing that's required to work with a band. But over the years, I studied guitar, I sang in choirs. And so to get to a place where finally I said I could now start a band, I was a late bloomer again, because it wasn't something I was able to do, as a young woman. I just did solos, and I did events. I loved creating events. And so I did a lot of that. And so that I could have work with other musicians, um, each person doing their own thing.
right.
But it gave me a chance to be in front of an audience. And I was told by someone that you can practice all you want at home,
Right.
and you only get better in front of an audience. And you, as a stand-up comedian,
Yeah.
you know that you can practice your routine all you want at home. It's until you get up in front of an audience. So anyway, so I was doing that. So now I'm finally able to get a band together, and it was a dear friend of mine who's passed away. And
Oh,
a lot of times I feel like I'm moving forward with my music to support, people that didn't get to finish their musical journey, and they're always in my heart.
right.
So my first concert was with my husband Joe, who's such a support,
Yes.
and this dear friend of mine and myself. And that was my first ever concert on my own. And I swear to God, I must have been in my 60s. So to me, that's a late bloomer. Yeah, right? And so, and then I was going into the studio and learning how to be in the studio to record some of my songs, because my first passion really is as a songwriter. I'm a storyteller,
Right.
and that's my passion. And so I finally got to a place where I was comfortable on stage, and I love that sort of my personality as a preschool teacher still comes across. But now I'm serious about being accurate on stage and
Okay.
working with musicians so that I'm doing a good job. But I'm still using my my kind of my personality.
Yeah.
So
Right.
anyway, so that brings me up to today.
Okay.
And so I've decided that being a late bloomer has really nothing to do with age. A late bloomer is not necessarily somebody our age. To
Right.
me, it's like just a mindset
Yes. Yeah.
to do something at a time when the people around you have maybe already done it. And so I've had young kids tell me they're late bloomers, teenagers, they're this, it's just a state of mind. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what I like is like, we don't need to put tags on ourselves, right? Well, sometimes we do, but for me, like I found that as I got older, I had a little bit more confidence in myself.
Mhm.
Like you said, solo performing is different from performing with the band, right?
Mhm.
That timing and all of those things that are necessary, right? And that collaboration that you have to have.
Right.
But what I did, from stand up to improv was even better because now I have these people to work with.
Right. Yeah, it's just similar, isn't it, really?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. Yeah. So now,
Bouncing ideas and mhm.
yes, absolutely. Feeding off to somebody else, it changes the energy completely, right?
Mhm. Right on. Mhm.
So now, have you written any songs lately?
Oh my goodness. What I find is that maybe you're the same way. You'll go for a period of time where you don't really feel too inspired,
Right.
but I've decided that from talking with other people, that's a time when we're on input. We're just
Mm,
kind of looking at the world, we're listening, we're paying attention, we're not necessarily writing. And then for some reason, one day, all of a sudden, you're on output.
right.
Now suddenly you're writing, and you may find the same way with your stand-up comedy that you, well, for whatever reason, you can't really think of anything that you want to work on, and then all of a sudden, there it is, that idea, and you run with it. So, um, so last year I released an album of songs that I wrote during the pandemic.
Right.
So I wrote them inspired from working in my garden. I'm a bird watcher. Songs about dreams of freedom is one of them. Just imagining, you could fly and get away from it all. And so this is the one. It was called Heartbeat of the World. I just thought I would bring it to the
Yes, thank you.
show. Yeah. And what was cool about that, and I talk about my adventures as a late bloomer, because I never know where, when I try something, where it might lead. And so what was cool about this album is the title song from that, called Heartbeat of the World, was used at the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow.
Oh,
And I released this album to Europe, and that title song was on a compilation album of songs. It was called um, to uh, to encourage, climate change,
right. Wow.
policies and whatnot. So, I mean, as far as an adventure, I mean, that was pretty amazing.
Yes.
So it was pretty cool. And I didn't know if you wanted me to sing the title song from that, or
And
would you like me to sing the? How much time do we have?
yeah, we have as much, well, we have till at least 10:30 in my time, and it's not quite 10 o'clock, so you're fine.
All right. So this is a song that is called "Heartbeat of the World,"
Okay.
and there we go. So can you hear my guitar?
Yes.
It's called "Heartbeat of the World," and I actually wrote it after the death of George Floyd. So, and I saw how everybody in the world just started marching. There was this awareness that seemed to happen all around the world. And so that was the inspiration for this song. But even if you don't know why I wrote it, and that's the beauty of songwriting, is that if you write it open enough, it just lets all kinds of subjects come in. So it was used for marching for climate change, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
One by one, around the sun, we are marching to a drum. Can you feel the heartbeat of the world? Two by two, we'll see it through. I am marching with you. Can you feel the heartbeat of the world? sound all around, a message in the air. Feel the rhythm of the heartbeat of the world. Four by four, and then a score, from a whisper to a roar. Can you feel the heartbeat of the world? A million, so many million voices of the men and women and children of the world. Hear the sound all around, a message in the air. Feel the rhythm of the heartbeat of the world. Here we come, this planet is our drum. We are marching to the heartbeat of the world. Here we come, this planet is our drum. We are marching to the heartbeat of the world. We are marching to the heartbeat of the world.
That's awesome. That is so, yeah, I was trying not to move while you're saying, because I always want to go to the music and I didn't want to be distractive. So it was just, my finger was going. But I kept wanting to, do this because it really is heartfelt. It really, really is. Beautiful song. Thank you so much for performing it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And, often I cry when I'm writing because what connects with me is often something quite emotional. And so I actually just did a show in a small town south of Calgary called High River. And several people came up and said, "You made me laugh, you made me cry." So I think as a writer, if I can reach somebody, and you're the same, I'm sure, even there's often that pathos in stand-up comedy, and you end up going, I think of Red Skelton, like how he could be so funny and then just tear your heart out.
Yes.
So often I cry when I'm writing songs. And with my late bloomer stuff, I've had to learn a lot of stuff.
Right.
And that's the other thing that I'm finding. So one of the things that I learned how to do is this. The QR code. Like, I mean, who thought that I would figure this out? So I go busking. I go singing on the street.
Oh, and you enjoy that, don't you?
And I love it. I love it. And the city of Calgary is really encouraging. They're actually hiring people to sing on the street.
Nice.
So you get paid, and whatever tips you get or CDs you sell. So this was fun. This was fun to learn how to do that.
Right.
And then the other thing that I've learned how to do, and I just did this now, just like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
There is a platform called Fiverr. Have you ever heard of Fiverr? Fiverr.
No.
Like Fiverr. So it's an online platform, and there's people on it from all around the world. And you type in whatever you need. So if you need an artist, if you need an accountant, whatever you need, you just type it in, and they have people from around the world have put up profiles.
Oh.
So I went to Fiverr.
Yeah.
I typed in lyric video. And so a lyric video, if you're familiar with that, is you see something going by and the words appear,
Yeah, okay,
or the words of the song.
right.
So I had just written a song that, getting back to this emotional connection,
Mm-hmm.
in my paper here in Calgary, the Calgary Herald, about two or maybe 3 months ago, there was a photograph of just this ordinary man in his ordinary everyday clothes, and he was learning to throw Molotov cocktails. It was a man in the Ukraine.
Oh my.
Right. And I looked at him just in his everyday clothes, and I
Yeah,
thought, oh, he's just an ordinary man.
right.
And one day he's going to work,
Mm,
and the next day he's going to war.
yeah,
And I just felt my heart. I thought, oh my God, that could be, if that happened here, that could be my husband, my brother, my son.
yeah,
And so I go over immediately and I just write on a piece of paper, ordinary man.
right.
And that's, as a songwriter, that was my trigger. That was my trigger. And I thought, I need to write a song about this. And again, because it hit me emotionally, I cried writing the song.
Right.
I really did. I cried. And so, and I find if I'm emotionally connected to a song, then people
Others.
want to hear it.
And
So
sorry, you sent me that song and I didn't know how to incorporate it during the interview
right.
because it would have been awesome to be able to do that. But I just couldn't figure it out, you know?
Right. Well, so the fellow that I found when I went to Fiverr,
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't know where in the world he was. There was a picture of him, and just a small one. But anyways, so this is what the lyric video will look like.
Oh,
This is his artwork. And as the song goes by,
yeah,
the images just slowly change and the words appear.
nice.
And it's really powerful.
Right.
And what I want to do is I'm going to release the song as a single, so it goes out into the world and all the platforms for Spotify and Much Music and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Right.
But this, I want to set it up as a fundraiser. So I'm going to
Um,
link it to a fundraiser to the Ukraine. And
Awesome.
somebody got in touch with me with one for children, a
Right.
link to support the children in the Ukraine. And I think it feels like that's a good place for me to go, having been a preschool teacher. So
Right.
so I'll have to learn how to do that in this next week or so. But yeah, so that's my latest project and a part of my late bloomer and my learning curve. So yeah, so I would like to sing that song for you too.
Yes, please.
Yeah. He's an ordinary man, lives an ordinary life, has an ordinary home and an ordinary wife. Every day is like the last one, nothing much seems to go wrong, but his world just took a sideways spin, and now his ordinary life is gone. He's a father, he's a brother, he's a husband, he's a son, he's a friend and a neighbor, and now he's carrying a gun. His world has turned to ashes, dreams are rubble in the dust. His prayers rise high above everything he's lost. He packed up all the memories one suitcase could hold, kept his family close beside him, left everything they owned. His quiet life was shattered with the first blast of a bomb, and his world took a sideways spin, and his ordinary life was gone. He's a father, he's a brother, he's a husband, he's a son, he's a friend and a neighbor, and now he's carrying a gun. His world has turned to ashes, dreams are rubble in the dust. His prayers rise high above everything he's lost. And the world is watching in color on TV. As hearts break, we wonder, could it happen to me? He's a father, he's a brother, he's a husband, he's a son, he's a friend and a neighbor, and now he's carrying a gun. His world has turned to ashes, dreams are rubble in dust. His prayers rise high above everything he's lost. His dreams rise high above everything he's lost. He's an ordinary man.
It's so powerful, really. You know, as you were playing, I was just thinking about the fact that we happen to be born in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could have been any of us, you know, you think about it, right?
Exactly.
We're just happy to be here. Oh, that was so powerful. Thank you, Carolyn. I really appreciate you doing that.
And like my first song, Heartbeat of the World, the inspiration was the death of George Floyd.
Yes.
But the song has many doors and many uses. And that's how I try to write. And so even though this song is specific, it's not specific. Even though this song was inspired
right
by the war in the Ukraine, it applies to all the wars around the world and all the men who just, like I said, one day they're going to work, and it could be in any part of the world.
Any part of the world, yeah.
And there's this thing called war weariness.
Right.
And it's where we keep hearing over and over again. And now we're hearing about the war in the Ukraine. And there's a war weariness that after a while we start to shut down emotionally, and we don't even want to hear about it anymore. So one of the things I'm hoping is that there's an emotional connection through my song to get back to people to just have a sense, and also, like you say, to really appreciate the blessings that we have, that we live where we live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're going to end it on that note. Okay. So,
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. So to everybody out there, you've been listening to Carolyn Harley. Now look for her fundraiser, Ordinary Man. It's going to be, when she's ready, hopefully she'll share it with me, and I'm going to put it out there as much as I can. Even if you can't donate or to share it, so that those who can or are in the position to help out can do so, and keep it in mind that it could have been your husband, your brother, your son, whatever, right?
Right.
So thank you all for watching the show, and thank you, Caroline, once again, Carolyn Harley, for doing this. And everybody, be nice and peace out.
A sense of community till it wax a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.